media, we're kind of fragile. It's just really hard to go every sport. Bryce Harper spent time in the minors.
Yeah.
Alex Rodriguez spent 2 years in the minors in Tacoma. Like, basically, Caitlin gets drafted. They give her a jersey. An hour later, they blow a whistle, go play.
Yeah.
She's getting pushed around. So, like, my thing is, everybody, she's going to be fine. There's a racial component. There's a gender component. We don't like to see girls pushed and picked on. And just, I was saying this early. We didn't let women box in the Olympics till 2012.
Yeah.
We were protective. So some of this is just like, wait, we're okay with guys getting picked on.
We are.
Joe Burrow getting hit late.
Yep.
We're good with that. Some of that, we don't like this, which I think Rice speaks well, but I think she's going to be fine.
She is. I mean, the right to passage, right? The right to passage. You think Norm Nixon was happy when Magic Johnson came in? So seriously. I mean, when Michael Jordan came in, he had his detractors. It goes down the list with men with regards to the right to passage. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey,
It's a prove it thing.
Now, it happens in basketball, too. Candace Parker had her share when she came into the WNBA.
Because she was a star in college.
Because she was a star. Now, the anomaly is she was NBA Rookie of the Year and also won MVP.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. She's one of the greatest players
She's one of the greatest players ever. The dynamic. See, everything is timing with Caitlin Clark. Because college basketball, I'm able to follow and see the dynamic build.
Yeah, you're one of the few people that does college and pro. You did a bunch of UConn games.
Listen, the dynamic. People think, well, you weren't talking about Caitlin Clark. Yes, you were. You just didn't pay attention to it. You didn't pay attention to what was happening in the landscape. But she was doing this before the national championship game for people in college that really followed it. The challenge is now that you go to the WNBA, who's been growing, and those who follow the game understand that the league has been great for a long time.
Yeah, but
it did just happen.
Yeah, the quality of play.
Oh, the quality of play is unbelievable.
She's the catalyst. She's the star, which, by the way, Conor McGregor was for the UFC, but the UFC over 10 years was getting better fights, better cards, better fighters. And then Conor just made it explode.
But the timing was right. Conor was the right person at the right time for the right product.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that as good as Angel Reese is, her story is a lot different than Caitlin's.
Sure.
Caitlin's story sells to Middle America, to the East Coast, to the West Coast, to the South.
Classic Midwest underdog.
Yeah, that's a story. So many times you don't have to be the best player, but your story is a lot better and more intriguing. So now you're drawing more eyes. That's not making it right, wrong, or indifferent. That's not saying she's better than Angel Reese or whoever. That's irrelevant. What's relevant is the story and the timing.
Yeah.
And the challenge for the WNBA is accepting what comes with that, with her start.
With Conor McGregor.
And with Conor McGregor. It's going to be likes and dislikes, but now you got more eyes on the TV, and that adds more criticism too.
Sure.
The thing I think that the WNBA, and to their credit, they're like, listen, there's a lot of people now that's just coming on board and want to say stuff. You haven't been following.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
Right.
It happens with every sport.
Casuals pour in with big opinions.
Listen, you think from a minority perspective with the eyes on PGA when Tiger came, then all of a sudden the casual fan came in and became golf experts when Tiger came. Yeah. Because his story was so phenomenal. You had people that really didn't watch Saturday, Sunday, or even Friday golf.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing here in regards to the new eyes, and now you got more opinions.
Yeah, sometimes the story isn't the best player. Baker Mayfield for a year was the story in the NFL. Number one pick, brash, cocky, wasn't the best player, but he was a story.
He was a story.
He was on 9 commercials as a rookie.
Well, people can follow that. They can buy into it. And listen, Steph Curry wasn't the best player, but his story for Davidson and growing and this
the
and
wild three-point shots.
Okay, is he a better player than LeBron James? No. But his story of how he got to where he's at and what changed is very intriguing.
Yeah, Steph is the only basketball player. My son wasn't a big athlete that he liked. He was small. He was thin. My son's like, I could be that. The best story is not always the best player. It just certain athletes and politicians make us feel
They
something.
do. There's a connectivity,
There's
right?
a connectivity.
There's a connectivity.
Let's talk
Okay. So I really want to talk about this because I think this is a fascinating thing that has just happened, because I think the WNBA and the media as a whole have completely fumbled the Caitlin Clark fandom, hysteria, boom, whatever we want to call it. Because of all this fighting back and forth, because of racial accusations, because of trying to isolate and make new fans feel like they're either racially insensitive, sexist, don't know anything about sports. They feel, they're trying to make them feel dumb for even rooting for Caitlin Clark in the first place, or making it morally or ethically wrong. It's just been a disaster. And because of that back and forth debate, that was actually part of helping boost the ratings in general, because it was just like, kind of like, what are these conversations that people are having? There's now been this overcorrection because they're so dead set on trying to act like all other players are equal, and that, hey, just because Caitlin Clark is doing this doesn't mean that we can't celebrate these other players. And it's not to say that you shouldn't celebrate other players, but by doing so, they then try to pull back Caitlin Clark's greatness. Like, even that quote, not built for the physicality. Well, let me tell you what the not built for the physicality has shown. She is the first player of this season to reach 300 points, 100 assists, and 100 rebounds. That's pretty good, okay? She's averaged, for a rookie, okay, 15, 5, and 5 as a rookie for 2 whole months. In the history of the WNBA, of all other rookies, it's only been averaged for 2 months. You understand what I'm saying? What she's done individually is already tied what an entire history of the WNBA has done. So among rookies, and it's not even just individual players. It's like one player here, one player there, and she's already done it herself for 2 months. And it's not like they've been playing for 10 months right now, obviously. So it's just outrageous. And the ratings, the Caitlin Clark viewership is 1.184 million viewers. All other games this season is 428. Caitlin Clark more than doubles the viewership when she's playing. And all of last year was 301,000. So not only has she brought viewers to her own games, but she's also brought viewers to other games. And this is such a disaster that she's not been celebrated, that because she's become such a controversial figure, you now see the media, the WNBA, even fans at this point, not celebrating all of these accomplishments. They want to keep trying to celebrate other players or elevate. And again, you can do both, but they're de-emphasizing Caitlin Clark. I watch all these shows. First Things First, The Herd, First Take, whatever it may be. I don't hear them talk about Caitlin Clark anymore. It's like they don't want to talk about it. The pushback was too strong. These shows got a ratings bump. My YouTube videos got a view bump, but the pushback was stark, and it turned into a whole like gritty political racial conversation. And now it's like, to some degree, some of these networks don't even want to touch it anymore. Or you'll see like a little thing, but like I go on ESPN.com or any of the other websites, and I didn't see any of these statistics or little factual bites that I saw. I had to see it on social media, on other YouTube videos or other platforms. It's like, it's not even being talked about or celebrated or emphasized. And to me, that just shows how much they are failing this. Because I got news for you. This boom can only last for so long. What the NBA did with Steph Curry, and that's why I'm really happy they brought him up, is they went all in. When Steph Curry hit the scene, and it was clear that, oh my God, he has arrived, like in 2015, they double, triple down. Every time you went to ESPN.com, you saw him every 5 seconds. You got to see the highlights every 5 seconds of his crazy shot, of his handles, whatever it may be. They double down, triple down, quadruple down. Now, don't get me wrong. He was winning. He was in California. And then they obviously then ended up winning the finals against LeBron James. So that also helped and contributed. But the NBA knew that's their golden goose right now. We are going to do that. The NBA tried to do that this past season with like an Ant. They did it with Jokic. They did it with Kyrie. No, not Kyrie. Luka. Right, like they pick and choose. Granted, obviously the NBA has many of these players that they can do that with, but when they see the momentum behind a player, behind a team, like what happened most recently, I would say with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Ant, that's when they doubled down, and the networks doubled down and tripled down. But they were like, "Is Ant the next Michael Jordan? Is he as good as Michael Jordan? Is he the best two-way player?" Like they just kept feeding into it, and then once Ant was down, they then like jump over to Luka. What Luka's doing is historic. This is amazing. Again, it's the luxury that the NBA has. The WNBA doesn't have that. So the WNBA tries to jump to other players, but the fans don't care. They do not care. So if you're not talking about Caitlin Clark, you're then losing fans. And other people are going to say, well, people are only fans of Caitlin Clark. What good is it? I already told you the viewership. She already added viewership for non-Caitlin Clark games. It just takes time for these other fans to begin to become fans of other players. You can't do it too soon. For the new fan that was introduced to the NBA, and a lot of people watching this video were not introduced to the NBA from Steph Curry, but a lot of fans were, especially obviously young fans. They don't want to be shown other players just yet. They have to watch Steph, fall in love with Steph, fall in love with the Warriors. Then they're like, whoa, Klay Thompson is really good. Whoa, who's that guy? Draymond Green. He doesn't really shoot and score a lot of points, but he does all this other stuff. Like, that's cool. You know, when I play, I don't score a lot of points either. Maybe I'm actually more Draymond Green. Like, we always try to find ourselves in these players. And when you try to jump ship, if new fans got invited to the NBA via Steph, and then you tried to like jump to a completely different team, and you were like, yeah, but like, what about Joel Embiid? Or I don't know if Joel Embiid was on the Sixers just yet. You know, like whatever it was, like, what about this player? What about that player? You would be like, I'm here for Steph. I don't know who those other guys are. Like, they didn't capture my imagination. And that's the problem. That is the fundamental problem that the WNBA and the media is doing right now. They did not go all in on Caitlin Clark, and now the buzz, to a large degree, is already starting to get quieter and quieter and quieter. It seems like Caitlin Clark is going to have to win a championship for her to even like kind of like recapture some of that. It's not to say that it's not going to happen, but they were originally talking about this a lot and making it controversial. And now it's like nothing now. Like, I mean, you would think that there would be a segment, or they'd be talking about the 300 points, 100 assists, and 100 rebounds. Like, you'd think that they would be talking about the 15, 5, and 5, that they would be talking about the ratings, and they're just not. That moment has already gone. And at least it could have been reignited with her going to the Olympics, but nope. They didn't want to do that. Like, nah, she's not going to go to the Olympics. So they just dropped this so badly. They really, really did. And now it's just going to be like she's going to have to win an MVP or a championship to kind of like recapture that buzz, or maybe like something truly controversial like Angel Reese elbows her to the face, like whatever it may be. It would have to be something like significantly more controversial. And because the NBA went so all in on Steph when he was on his rise, even if he lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, it still would have been able to have that momentum going into the next season, and they would have said, can Steph, you know, dethrone the king? Like it still would have been a fun, interesting narrative that fans still would have been more and more excited to engage with. Again, winning absolutely helped him, and I think, you know, catapulted him to even higher levels. But again, I don't think Caitlin Clark at this point has this luxury, because people wanted to hate Caitlin Clark. People weren't trying to find reasons to hate Steph Curry. The NBA wasn't trying to find reasons to hate Steph Curry, nor the media. There were some whispers of that. They tried to turn it into kind of like a race thing, but that got squashed pretty easily because he was so likable, so successful, and won. With Caitlin Clark, they're looking for reasons to bring her down, for her to fail. Big names like Gino or other people are trying to be like, she's not that good. Hold your horses. If you like her and you're saying all these things and you're saying crazy fan stuff, which is what fans do, you're ridiculous. You're dumb. Get out of here. That if she doesn't just like blow everyone out of the water and doesn't average 50 points a game every single game, win a championship, win an MVP, people are like, I told you she's not good enough. And that's a problem. That's a problem because it just takes away from some of this Caitlin Clark mania and buzz, and the WNBA as a whole will hurt because of it, will suffer because of it, and women's sports as a whole will suffer because of it. So congratulations, WNBA. Congratulations, media. You did it. You took out some of the wind beneath Caitlin Clark's sails and wings. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caitlin Clark and kind of how the buzz has kind of come back down to earth and there's not really a lot of talk about her as of late? And do you think this is on Caitlin Clark or on the fans, on the media, on the WNBA? What do you think's going on here? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.